believe rap is simply poetry dipped in alcohol. Sorry.
It's basically freedom, right? It's not stifling, it's not constraining. It is basically the freedom to make art in whatever form, in whatever way that you want to make it.
You are misrepresenting, or you're being stereotypical, or you are not being ethically considerate. You're not taking into context ethical consideration. Then you need to renew your license.
Oh my!
You need to renew that license.
Books and journals, I feel like they have the capacity to change my life, right?
Hi guys, welcome to Page to Shelf podcast powered by Book Spider. It is our first episode and I am so excited. I am so excited. There is so much to learn. There is so much to take out of this show, of this episode. Is going to be amazing. I am your host, Omolara Perez, and I'm excited to share with you today another exciting topic in the world of writing and literature. I'm sure you're ready to get on this ride with me. And as usual, I would say, grab a cup of a favorite drink, coffee, whatever it is that you like to take, get cozy, and let's explore this together. Welcome back. As I said earlier, we're discussing a very interesting topic, poetic license. I wonder, what comes to your mind when you hear the word poetic license? Does it mean you need a license to be a poet? What does it really mean? Does it concern me? Well, you find answers to that today, because joining me on this show are two amazing women. My goodness, their beauty is blinding. Like, they're so pretty. You know, beauty and brains, talk about the combination. I want to suggest, and I would rather advise, before the camera pans to their side, I'll need you to put on your sunshade so that, you know, you can receive the glory that's about to come on you right now. All right, joining me are Chidima Nalue and Elizabeth Anaba. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
It's good to be here. Thank
Oh,
you.
wow, it's actually really good to say. Can you guys see the beauty? Like, for just take a few seconds to thank God, appreciate the Lord for their
Thank you so
beauty.
much. You're not looking bad yourself.
Thank
Oh my
you.
gosh, thank you
I mean,
so
you're
much.
glowing.
Oh, why? Thank you so much. I'm trying so much, you know. All right, it's really good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Quickly, I'm going to talk about our guests one by one, so you know the juice, you know the expertise that is coming out of these people today. Starting with Chidima Nalue, she is a graduate of English and Literature at the University of Benin and also an alumni of the Spring Writing Fellowship. She's also the category lead of the literary department at Sabi Writers. Come on, let's welcome her.
Thank you, Lara. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. And Elizabeth Anaba, she's a graduate of Education and English Language from the University of Lagos and holds a master's degree in English Language. 2 times. Wusa. English. We are going to hear English today. Also the research and academic supervisor at Sabi Writers. Please welcome her.
Thank you for having me, Lara.
You're welcome. All right. Before we delve into today's topic, I'd like to ask you, what's your writing journey been like? What has it been like? Did you wake up one morning and just felt like you want to write? When did it start? Chidima, I'm going to start with you first.
Okay, so I have always loved to read, right? I was that child that used to read newspapers amongst, other things, and then books. But then I did not start writing. I did not consider pursuing a career in writing until after my university education. So I was sort of wondering what I was going to do. And it seemed like I was, getting myself immersed more in the literary world. And by reason of that, I was writing more. And I saw that, hey, I love this thing and I want to pursue it professionally. So in 2022, I got my first job as a professional writer. And it's been amazing since then. It's been a roller coaster, been a whirlwind of learnings, been transformative, rewarding. It's just really been beautiful while tasking at the same time. So
That's amazing. That's pretty inspiring. Elizabeth, what's your writing journey?
It's going to sound very weird, but So my writing journey started from rap music.
Okay. Hold on. No. And you can't drop such. I will just give us a few seconds to. You said what from rap?
Yes,
Wow.
yes.
Okay, tell us more.
So I listened to a lot of. I grew up with a lot of music around me, and so I was exposed to rap music very early. And I used to think about how their thought process was, because I believe rap is simply poetry dipped in alcohol. Sorry to say that. So it's like rap, and then it's poetry, but in a rap form. And so I aspired to, create something like that. So my writing started from poetry. Let me put it that way. Wow. So that's why this topic is quite significant to me. Years down the line, I did not really practice. We're going through life, and then by my university level, when Facebook came and everything, and then you had a platform to share your thoughts, share your stories, share your ideas, I began utilizing that platform, and here I am. I mean, now practicing professionally.
Wow.
So Facebook was like the first platform per se that gave me the go ahead to write professionally, because if people did not affirm what I was doing on Facebook, I would have been practicing professionally. Let me put it that way. So yeah. So it was from rap to Facebook to professional practice.
First things first. I'm sure that my viewers will agree with this, because you're going to drop bars for us before we finish this.
No.
For this episode you are going to, of course, right? I can hear them shouting yes. So you're going to I think what's more fascinating for me is that none of you said that it was your love for writing that made you study English. It was after writing, and that's really fascinating, because most people will say, I studied mass comm because I like to talk. I studied mass comm because I wanted to be on A, right? So I mean, it's really fascinating to see that you found your path even before you went. I mean, after you had studied. Yeah. So let's just say,
the stars aligned.
Exactly. I was about to say that all things are working together for your good, and it was just amazing. Yeah. This is your cue. If you're not using Facebook, number one, so go and be sharing what's on your mind. And if you love rap, do not think that rap is not a genre that is very. Just look at this. You have a living example right in front of you. Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you, Laura.
All right, let's get into the meat of today's show.
Okay.
Poetic license. I'm sure somebody's wondering, what is poetic license? How does it even concern me? Let's even say I'm just a writer or someone who loves to write. I'm not a professional writer. How does this concern me? How can I impute this in my journey as a writer? So starting with you, Chidima, what is poetic license?
So I'd say that for anyone wondering, what it is, how to, infuse it in their work, it's basically freedom, right? It's not stifling. It's not constraining. It is basically the freedom to make art in whatever form, in whatever way that you want to make it. Now, poetic license is often attributed to poetry, right? But of course, it transcends that even to essays and then fiction pieces as well. So it's basically an opportunity for you to blend symbolism, for you to harness oral traditions, for you to look at a part of history and say, hey, how can I recreate this? How can I make it more mystical? How can I make it how can I make it sound like the average person, right? Such that when they read it, they can relate. When they see proverbs, it just kind of strikes something, or it strikes a chord within them. So poetic license is basically freedom to express, freedom to write, freedom to blend things, to do stuff, and just make great art by being free. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that, Chidima. Elizabeth, now, drawing from what she just said, you both studied English language, and I believe there are probably principles, there are rules on what to write and how to write it. So for someone wondering, like you're saying now that I have the freedom to write, I have the creative freedom. What if I write something and somebody come and say, what kind of English is this one? Why do taboo? How do I defend that I'm being, I have the license to be poetic? Let's put it that way. How do I defend that?
Okay, so while in school, there was this thing that we would yab the people who majored in literature. We'll tell them that you guys are just using this avenue to make mistakes. But then, for someone who is a true creative, the thing about poetic licenses, if you think about poetic license as the immunity to create beyond what is expected, then you're basically going to transform whatever you're writing into something that they can relate to. Now, how do you know that, okay, I am creating and I am not, doing things beyond what they should be? I think at the end of the day, you have to make sure that, number one, your purpose has been achieved. So don't overdo it. What is your purpose for using this thing? Have you achieved that purpose? Have you achieved that effect? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So you want to communicate something. I saw a poem recently. A man was praising his wife who just had a baby. And what he did was, the poem he wrote, he made sure that when you take it back and look at it, it's in the shape of a pregnant woman. So when you look at the aesthetics of it from afar, it looks, this is really pleasing. When you come close to it, you may see some break in the sentence, which he had to do to achieve that shape.
Okay.
So what was the purpose for doing that? To praise his wife, right? I think he has achieved what he wanted to do. He has achieved the purpose. And for me, that is a good use of poetic license. But the moment you are using poetic license, we are lost. We don't even see the poetic license that you're using. The effect is not there. The purpose of using it is not there. Then I think you should just give it to an editor.
Yes. Well, as you already know, Page to Shelf podcast is powered by Book Spider, an editing and publishing company. You can please, if that ever happens, we're here for you. Great stuff. Great. I'm sure you're learning a lot. I'm going to ask this question because I feel like let's break it into smaller bits.
Okay.
So, poetic license. What are the key elements? So now she mentioned something about a man writing a poem and it took the shape of a pregnant woman. He had to break the sentence. So does it also have to do with the kind of words that you use? Where is the boundary, or how far can I go with poetic license? Do I have to touch the words or not touch a sentence structure, a grammatical? For someone who is probably just starting writing, how would you give like a 2-minute masterclass or a 1-minute masterclass on poetic license? I'm going to ask you to, Elizabeth, so please prepare. But Chidima, please go on first.
Okay, so I would say that language is really important. If you are just starting out, you could try, as opposed to saying, hey, okay, I read the greats, so I read this kind of people. I read the greats and I want to copy what they are doing. Or I feel like, hey, how do I measure up, right, to that standard? You can start by writing in your voice. You can start by writing in the way that, we speak as Nigerians. Speaking of language now sort of reminds me of a short story I posted on Instagram a while back. And I really enjoyed writing in this main character's voice. Like, he was a houseboy and was saying things like, do you mind if I read from?
Please, of course.
Okay, because I made a screenshot of that.
Oh, great.
Just to illustrate. Okay, so there's a part that says, it starts with, Madam has been stealing from Oga. The second part, he has not even married her and things are already disappearing in this house. Me, I don't want this kind of madam, right? There's another part that says, I don't blame her. I blame Oga for liking women too much. If somebody likes women too much, you will surely jam different types. I hope that one day we'll stop changing women like someone that is changing pants. So it's just like, I'm just speaking in my own voice, speaking in that character's voice. So I think that would be a good place to start, right? There's a lot to learn about the writing crafts. There's stuff to learn about scenes. There's just a whole lot to learn. But I think that a good place to start would be, let me start with language. Let me try to write in this voice that might be, relatable. Yeah, so I think that would be a good place to start.
That's great. That's great. Elizabeth.
Okay, so because poetic license also expands to the ability to, or the act of, or the art of rewriting history or recreating history. There was a series I watched one time like that. It's based on this emperor Akbar. So it's Jordan Akbar. And when it came out, there's this thing that usually happens when someone recreates the history. They're like, this is not how it happened.
Yeah,
this is not how it happened.
yeah.
And the same thing happened for this story about Gucci. I don't know if you've seen it. And then people came, the Gucci family came and said, no, this is not. So the thing is, one thing you should do, because that is poetic license. Now, one thing you should do is be ethical enough to retain what happened while still making sure that it relates to the present day. So while you are recreating history, recreating culture, be ethical enough to retain the substance, the essence. Be ethical enough. Another thing is, do not misrepresent. Now, poetic license is the moment you start to be stereotypical about a particular set of people, marginalized or however, because you're trying to recreate a history. It's going to come off offensive to those people who have come from that same history living in the present. So while you are using your poetic license, it's a license. If you find yourself at that point where you are misrepresenting or you're being stereotypical or you're not being ethically considerate, you're not taking into context ethical consideration, then you need to renew your license.
Oh my.
You need to renew
Who is
that
license
license.
officer?
I don't know.
Well, this is really interesting, and I'm sure that you've gotten a lot from it. We'll be right back.
Get ready for intellectually stimulating conversations, a podcast like no other. It's the Page to Shelf podcast. Join us as we navigate the world of creativity, from book ideation and publication to bookshelves and everything after that. Coming your way soon. Page to Shelf podcast, powered by Book Spider.
Welcome back to Page to Shelf podcast. It's been an amazing, amazing, amazing show. Oh my goodness. This is so good. I've learned a lot, and I'm so sure that you have to. With my amazing guests in the house, Elizabeth Anaba and Chidima Analue. All right. Moving away from the writers and professionals' perspective, let's go into what's on the audience's mind. How would you say poetic license impacts the reader's experience?
Okay, am I going first?
Yeah.
Okay, so poetic license, it could break things down for the reader. It could aid their comprehension, excuse me, and their enjoyment of the work. So, for instance, Abi Daris, the girl with the louding voice. So she
like
has.
that story.
Oh, you do?
I do. I really like that story.
Okay, so let me read like 2 lines or rather 2 sentences. We have a TV in our parlor. It didn't work.
Yeah, I know that.
One boy,
I really like that part.
one boy, our firstborn, he find the TV inside dustbin 2 years back when he was working a job as dustbin collector officer in the next village. So this could, it depends on the reader ultimately. Some people might, like Elizabeth here, fall in love with things like that. Maybe it aids their comprehension. It just makes things subbable, so to say. It just makes things nice, right? But for others,
the imagery
thank
is vivid.
you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But for others, it might be different. Now, another example would be Chinua Achebe's books, like Things Fall Apart, for instance, Arrow of God.
Antelope
So,
that's true.
so he uses proverbs. He uses, let me use proverbs, for instance. And I feel like those are exciting for someone like me because I'm Igbo, right? And then I'm interested in my people's history, my people's culture, and then he uses those proverbs to just kind of endear me further to my culture and just, make me excited at saying, even though, of course, I did not live during this era, I see how things came to life. I see how my ancestors lived. So I feel like, it could sponsor enjoyment for others. Others might not quite enjoy it. It can just reveal a lot about a people and just help the reader in some kind of way.
I think that's to top on that. So the thing about literature generally is there's something called reader response. So reader response is a theory in literature that talks about how different readers interpret different pieces of literature. Now, That idea of clearer understanding, better interpretation, deeper interpretation. So it's like, if you would have understood it this way without poetic license, now think about what poetic license has done to it. So whatever it would have been without poetic license has deepened it. I don't know if you understand. Then there's also the concept of the emotional impact of it. Think about that poem that I told you about, the man that wrote it. Think about the wife who's going to receive that poem.
Right.
So she would have appreciated it if it were just in the free verse form. But then now seeing it in the pregnant woman shape, trust me, it's a memory that she'll always hold on to. So poetic license for the reader now has that emotional impact. It's just there, like, this is in your face, take it. And it's lasting. It's an enduring memory. It's not something that they'll read and pass by. It's something that even if they don't remember the exact words, you see, and that's the reason she was able to remember this part of this story. And I could also remember this part of the story because the poetic license worked. Do you understand? So I feel like it's a tool that you want to use if you want to create emotional impact, if you want to create deeper understanding, not just surface understanding, deeper interpretation of your work, and not just deeper interpretation of your work, but interpretation for every person. So each person has their own reader response to one same thing. Each person different responses or different interpretation to the same thing. Yeah. So that's how
literature is really beautiful, if you ask me. My God, I remember something from one thing I read. Women of all.
I love. Oh my God!
And it is based on a Greek mythology, right? I'm trying to something about Helen of Troy. Is it Helen? I can't remember.
Oh Lord, there's a line that sticks to me. I used to insult my friends that you are mocking and the mockers who are got to the mock. I was like, I used that for a long time.
It's achieved the purpose of it.
Yeah, those things really do stick. For instance, Arrow of God. I haven't read it this year, but it's one of those books that I go back to because it's just really beautiful. Like Igbo stories, proverbs, way of life, ancestry is just really beautiful. So yeah, like you said, poetic license is licensing.
Would you say that when you adapt books to movies, for example, or movies into books, is it poetic license as well? Like, is it in the same framework as poetic license?
So adaptation. So any form of art is it can use or can be poetic license depending on how you adapt it.
Okay.
Now, for instance, what book do I use? 50 Shades. No. Let me not use 50 Shades of Grey. I'm thinking of another book. Game of Thrones.
Okay.
I was speaking to a friend, and he was the one who even made me understand that Game of Thrones was a book first. Was it? I don't know.
I mean, I learned the same about Bridgerton as well. Like, it was a book before it started.
And then there's another one I'm trying to remember. It's this recent one. Sayed Gaib or something like that. What's the title of that? I can't remember, but it's a popular Dune. Dune 1, Dune 2. So now he was telling me that Dune, if you read the story of Dune and the adaptation to the movie, there are some slight changes. That slight changes is the license. It's the poetic license. The ability, the art of knowing how to alter something from the book just because you are now in motion picture. Because there are some things that your eyes, because now it's audio visual movie, right? And there are some things that audio visual cannot capture as quickly as you reading it. It's the same thing with The Great Gatsby. When I watched the movie, I read the book first. I read the book first and then I watched the movie. And then there were some things that I did not blame them for not including. Because your audiovisual would not capture it as quickly as it would if you were reading the book. So that's poetic license, because you know that you can alter some things to suit the form. Do you understand? So it's now form is now one of the reasons of using poetic license, the form of the art. So that's how I say.
Elizabeth, thank you for sharing that, because sometimes I even wonder if I watch a scene, or rather when I have read books or written something, I just try to imagine how would it look like if it was a film, right? So there are some things that you can do in the book that you would not be able to do in the movie, and vice versa. So it's really beautiful.
My goodness. I am loaded. If you see me anywhere, ask me what's poetic license. I'm going to break it down to you because this is an enriching episode. I'm sure you can say that as well. If you've loved this episode right now, just drop your comments, drop your comments. Let them know that you value what they've given to you, this expertise. Oh my God. Really, thank you so much. Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you. I've learned so much. Thank you so much. It's been an interesting episode. However, we're going to run off the show right now.
Am I worried about this part?
However, maybe we should just sip a little from the bottle.
Cheers.
Okay, cheers. Yeah. All right, we're going to run the show right now. But before we go, Elizabeth Anaba.
Oh my God.
She's going to drop some poetic licensed rap.
I don't have any rap. I don't have any rap. I don't on the spot. So I said I listened to. I did not say I rap. Although I remember doing Your Mama time like that.
Say that again.
Your Mama, not this Your Mama.
Your Mama.
Oh, okay. Oh, that one.
One time like that.
Okay, you know what? Just you're gonna have to follow them on Instagram or something, and you can mention one of her poetries and all. But it's been amazing having you on the show.
Thank you so much, Lara.
Right, before you go, tell us one fun fact about you. Chidima, starting with you.
Okay, so I feel like books and journals, I feel like they have the capacity to change my life. Right? Not reading them. Okay, let me talk about the journal parts. Like a new journal, when I smell it.
Oh yeah, I remember her birthday.
I just feel like my life is going to change somehow. So yeah, I love journals. So in short, I love journals.
Do you collect them? Sometimes I can have 20 new and
she does.
Yeah, so I do collect them. I don't have 20 or anything. Yeah. When I blew, I'm gonna do some collection. But yeah, I do love journals.
Oh wow, that's amazing. Elizabeth.
Yes. I'm a collector of water bottles.
Please, I think you need to
I really love collecting.
This is a very beautiful one.
So
actually.
This is like a I don't know if to call it pseudo Starbucks, like a look-alike of Starbucks cup. So I've been an admirer of Starbucks, and I've made it one of my goals to collect cups that look like them.
And then one day you're going to actually hold the Starbucks cup.
I mean,
sure they will not come to Nigeria.
I hope they do. I really hope they do. But I really love collecting cups, bottles, drinking water bottles, cups, and the rest of it. I really love collecting them.
Amazing. Thank you so much again. It's been amazing having you on the show. All right, my amazing viewers and listeners, if you enjoyed today's episode, I want you to follow us on Instagram. I want you to subscribe on our YouTube. I want you to also follow us on Spotify, Page to Shelf Podcast. I mean, look at all the value you got today. You can't hold it to yourself now. Come on. So please share it with your friends, your family, your loved ones. Help someone else know better and, learn more about writing, about books, about the literary world. I am your host, Omolara Perez, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.